Okay, welcome back to Talavera, scenario 3. We're going to start the scenario with the bombardment phase that happens at the beginning before everything starts. So the bombardment phase is going to be performed by those 6 artillery units here that are on the ridge. We have bombardment markers for those units. Artillery battery 1 and 2 from the reserve markers here. Artillery battery 3 and 1 from the 2nd division are here, and then the last 2 batteries from the 1st and 3rd division from the 1st Corps are here. So how does that work? This phase is out of the sequence of play. So at the beginning of the phase, we place the markers on the intended targets that need to be in line of sight and in range. So let's take a look at those possible targets. The fire arc for that unit is going from there, and then the extent of the fire arc for that unit goes all the way here. So the targets that are available are, now this one is not available because it's in a valley there, it's hidden by the slope. So we have available targets that are these skirmisher units. This one is not because it's shielded by the unit here. That cavalry unit is available, those skirmishers here, those 2 infantry units, and the artillery here. We have other units here, they are hidden by the slope and they are too far away anyway, so they would not be good targets. Okay, we start the bombardment phase by assigning bombardment markers to hexes. And those, as soon as those markers are assigned, they cannot be changed throughout the whole phase, regardless of the number of turns of bombardment that you have. So let's see what you can do here. We have 2 strong batteries here, those 2 here, 1 and 2. We're going to put them on the infantry units here that are the juicier targets. This battery here, 1, 2, can fire at that target here. And this battery here, 1, 3, can fire at that target here. You cannot put more than 2 bombardment marker in each hex. Now this one here, battery number 3 from the reserve, is a weak battery. So we're going to try to find a target that's within its normal range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be either this or this. Now the fire modifiers, for a skirmish screen is -3, for an artillery battery is -2. So we're going to just use this one as a target, because this one we would not be able to achieve any result. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same thing here. So this would be a target, and in order to maximize the effectiveness of the fire, we're going to double up on that artillery unit by assigning the last marker to that unit also. So at the beginning of the phase, after the markers have been assigned, the British player receives the Lie Down Boys card. That's going to allow him to mitigate the effect of at least 1 fire on infantry only. So let's start by firing with the 2 big batteries here. They have a fire value of 7. It's within their normal range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they would have a modifier of -2 for the range, artillery firing at range 4 to treated range. Another modifier of -1 for the target being in line, and they get a bonus of +1 for Senarmont, because Senarmont is an artillery leader with a special ability, S1, as you can see here in red, and that means that he can affect all the batteries that are stacked with him, and also those that are adjacent to him. So all the batteries will benefit from that +1. So to summarize, that modifier is -2 for the range, -1 for the line, +1 for Senarmont, so it's a -2 net. So they would hit on a 5, as you can see here. We need to roll inferior or equal to the fire value. So let's roll for the first battery, and that's a 1. So that's a hit. The British player decides not to use his card, so we have to roll a TM check for that unit that was targeted by battery 1, which is this one. TM of 6. We roll, and we roll a 9, which means that now that unit is disordered and has stragglers. Now, because we rolled a 9, the allied player is allowed to draw another special event card. He's going to draw that one, which is, it was but a sped ball, which is good because it's going to allow him to cancel a leader casualty in case one of them is hit by that artillery fire. Let's go with the fire of the second battery, 1 to 1 here. Now this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, is past its normal range, so he's going to have a fire value modified by -4 for firing past its normal range. -1 for the line, that's -5, +1 for Senarmont, that's -4. So it's going to fire with a value of, effective value of 3. We roll for fire, it's an 8, so nothing happens. Same thing with 131. We're going to fire this unit with a fire value also of 7 -4 -5 +1. So that's a 3. 7, nothing happens. And then battery number 2, that's a 7 -2 -3 +1, so -2, that's a 5. And that's a 4, so that's a hit. The British player is going to use the Lie Down Boys card to cancel that hit. All those have fired. So now we are left with those two here, fire and the artillery. Let's start with a small battery. It's got a value of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 within range, so that's -2. +1 for Senarmont, that's 4 -2 +1 -1. And -2 for firing at an artillery unit in battery, or unlimbered. So that's going to be -4 +1, so -3. So we hit on a 0 or 1. And that's a fail. Hit, the fire has no effect. And finally, this battery here is going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a -2, -4 for the artillery in battery. So that's going to be a 3 +1 for Senarmont. That's a 4. So that's a 4 to roll here. And that's a hit. So artillery doesn't take stragglers losses, so they're just going to roll for TEM. And a 2 is fine, because the TEM of that unit is 7. So that's the end of the first barrage. Now the allied player has the right to move his leaders to units that have been affected by the fire. Only CG leaders can move on their own units, but army leaders can move anywhere. So we're going to move Hill on top of that unit that was disordered, and we're going to try to reform it. 6 +1 -1, that's 6. Reform attempt, that's a 3. The unit has been reformed. Now Hill is here. We finished the phase by giving the allied player that Lie Down Boys card back and flipping those markers back to their unfired phase. All right, second turn of bombardment. We cannot move those target markers. They have to stay, whether or not there is still a valid target there. Now, note also that during bombardment, you do not use ammunition. So there is no ammo roll for an artillery unit firing offensively during a bombardment phase. So let's start the same way. We're going to start by firing battery number 1 on this unit with Hill. So battery number 1, it's going to be -3 +1 -2, so it's a 5. And it rolls a 0. All right, so this is bad for the Brit, because a 0 on a value of 5 would actually give a full step loss TM check and a leader casualty check. So what the British is going to do is play the Lie Down Boys card to cancel that artillery fire, which in effect cancels also the leader casualty check, so it doesn't have to use that card so far. So Lie Down Boys card has been used and is not available anymore. Battery 1 has fired. 1 to 1 is going to fire also. That's a 7 -5 +1, that's -4, so that's a 3. So he hits on a 3. And that's a 3. So 3 would be a TEM check for the unit. Now the unit is stacked with Hill, so that's a 7. And it rolls a 3, so no problem. Battery 1 to 1 has fired. Battery number 2 hits on a 5. 6, nothing. Battery 131 hits on a 3. 2, so that's a straggler's loss, plus a TEM check for that unit that's on a 6, and they roll a 5, so they just get stragglers here. And finally, that artillery unit here, the small battery first, hits on a 0 or 1. And that's a miss. And the large battery here, it's on a -4, -3 on a 3 or less. And that's a 2. Again, TEM check for that artillery unit. 7, they pass. End of the segment. Hill can move here to attempt to reform this unit. Rolls a 4 and reforms it. So the allied player can now keep that card that he gained during the bombardment phase to use during the main game. That card can stay in his hand, so we're going to keep it. And bombardment is finished, so we can remove all the markers. Notice that by proper placement of the skirmish screen and the artillery batteries, and just exposing 2 of his units to the fire, the British player managed to mitigate the bombardment to actually have no effect in this particular instance of the scenario. Note that if you do not place your units properly, and if you do not screen them, and put a lot of infantry in front of that line of artillery, you offer more targets, and you might just get worse results in that bombardment phase. So it's very important to place your units carefully on the slopes, and in order to screen them so that they are not affected by that bombardment. Thank you for watching the second video on Scenario 3 of Talavera. On our next video, we will start the scenario proper by starting the 2:30 p.m. turn, and we will see how that unfolds. Thank you. Bye-bye.